Alright guys, here we go. So you should have these notes. If you do not, go ahead and grab them at this time. If you need to pause the video and hand them out, you can. Alright, notice that a lot of these have been marked out. Remember that we are a little bit behind where we need to be, so we're going to mark out things that we absolutely don't have to cover so we can get through this stuff. Okay, let's start with number 2. You ready? So first things first, you can factor this bottom piece. So I need factors of 6 that add or subtract to be -1. There's an understood 1 right here, okay? Alright, so make sure your phones are put up and make sure you're paying attention to what we're doing, okay? Alright, so on the top we have 4y and y minus 3, y plus 4. And then we have just a y. And let's factor that bottom piece. So the factors of 6 that add or subtract to be 1 are -3 and +2. Alright, now if they're exactly the same on top and bottom, anything divided by itself is 1. Y minus 3 divided by y minus 3 is 1. So notice how these two are not exactly the same. When they're addition and subtraction, the rules are very, very strict. But right here, we're multiplying. So if you see you're multiplying 4 times y, so those you can cancel because you're multiplying. Alright, so you're left with 4 and y plus 3. And then you're left with y plus 2 on the bottom. And that's your answer. Alright, let's do number 3. Same thing on number 3. You're going to need to factor that piece right there. But before we do that, to make our life easier, do you see something that already is the same on top and bottom? And you should see that x plus 5s are the same. So we can go ahead and mark those out. Alright, so we have 2x. Alright, and then let's factor this. So I need the factors of 8 that add or subtract to be 2. And that's +4 and -2. And we're just going to rewrite that stuff on the bottom that's left. X plus 5 is gone, so don't write him again. And now you should notice the same thing on top and bottom is the x minus 2's. So they will cancel. So you have 2x, x plus 4, over x minus 1. And if you wanted to, you could distribute the 2x, but you don't have to. And we actually want to leave it simplified to make sure that nothing cancels out, okay? So don't ever start by distributing on these because you'll be least likely, or excuse me, you'll be less likely to see something that will cancel out. All right, so we marked out 4. Let's go to 5. Same exact thing. So we're going to cover this piece up, and we're going to treat that first one just like we did the other ones. So we're going to factor the top first. All right, so I need the factors of 16 that add or subtract to be -6. And that's -2 and -8. Excuse me, no, that's not. Ah, golly, I can't get my hand to work right. Hold on a minute, guys. There we go. Goodness gracious. All right, on the bottom, we need to factor this x squared minus 16x plus 64. So that would be -8 and -8. All right, so now we're going to pretend like all of that is not there, and we're going to deal with this second fraction over here. So we need to factor this bottom piece. So I need the factors of 6 that add or subtract to be 5. And that would be a +2 and a +3. All right, now here's the thing. Yes, the x minus 8s will cancel out, but only one. They have to be in pairs, okay? They have to be in pairs. Like you're about to go on a date for prom, you have to be paired up. So 1 on top cancels with 1 on bottom. All right, now, if you'll look at these, you'll see that you have another set of x minus 8s, and one's on the top, and 1's on the bottom. Okay, so those will cancel out as well. So you have x plus 2 over x plus 2, x plus 3. Oh, I didn't see that x plus 2. That x plus 2 will cancel as well. All right, so remember what we started with. If they divide and leave you with a positive 1 on the top. And where is that x plus 3, guys? That x plus 3 is on the bottom of the fraction. You have to keep him there on the bottom of the fraction, okay? All right, we marked out 6. Let's go to 7. All right, same thing. We're going to pretend like we only have one fraction at a time, okay? All right, first things first. 8x minus 20. That only has 2 terms. So you factor that by the GCF right here on the top, okay? So what is the biggest number that goes into 8 and 20? And you should get 4. All right, 8 divided by 4 is 2x, minus 20 divided by 4 is 5. All right, this bottom piece down here, x squared plus 2x minus 35. We need to factor that. And that factors as x plus 7 and x minus 5. All right, same thing on the other one. Let's cover that up. Factor this top piece right here. That'll be x minus 5 and x minus 2. All right, factor this bottom piece. There's 2 terms. So it's the difference, it's a GCF, which the GCF there is 4, which leaves you with x squared minus 4. All right, let's look and see. Same thing on top with the same thing on bottom. So we have the x minus 5s. One's on top, one's on bottom. And we have the 4s. One's on top, one's on bottom. And that's okay because we're multiplying those. Remember, as long as you were multiplying, it was okay. All right, then this little piece right here, that can be factored as well. So let's rewrite everything. 2x minus 5 on the top and x minus 2 on the top. Then we have x plus 7. All right, this x squared minus 4 is the difference of 2 squares. Remember, you do 2 sets of parentheses. All right, you have x squared. That means you have 2 x's, and you need to split them in 2 spots. So it'll be 1x and 1x. All right, you have 4. What's the square root of 4? That's 2 and 2. 2 times 2 is still 4. All right, you have a subtraction. What kind of signs multiply to be a negative? That's a positive and a negative. And now you see that the x minus 2's will cancel out. So we have 2x minus 5 on the top, x plus 7, and x plus 2 on the bottom. Okay, this stuff's a little different. This is dividing. All right, so if you had Miss Miranda, she does the KISS, keep it, switch, switch. And if you had me for Algebra 1, then I do the keep, change, flip. So either one, they still have the same thing. So you're going to keep this first fraction, okay? So you're going to keep the x squared minus 16 and the 12x plus 36. You're going to change that division to multiplication. And then you're going to flip this fraction. So the x squared minus 3x minus 18 comes to the top. And the x squared minus 12x plus 32 goes to the bottom. And now it's the exact same thing we just did. All right, so x squared minus 16 is the difference of 2 squares. So you got 2 x's, split them in 2 spots, so it would be x and x. All right, square root of 16 is 4. You've got a minus sign, so what multiplies to be a negative is a positive and a negative. All right, 12x plus 36, there's only 2 terms, so you're going to do that by GCF. And the biggest number that goes into both of them is 12. So if you factor out a 12, that'll be an x plus 3. Okay, let's do the other one. Let's factor this top piece, x squared minus 3x minus 18. That factors as negative 6 and positive 3. All right, then we've got to do the bottom piece, x squared minus 12x plus 32. That factors as x minus 4 and x minus 8. All right, now we've got to ask ourselves if anything will cancel out. Well, we have an x plus 3 on the bottom, and there's 1 on the top, so they'll cancel. They have to be in different positions to cancel. And then we have an x minus 4 on top and an x minus 4 on bottom, so they cancel. And that looks like that's it. So we have x plus 4, x minus 6 on the top, and we have 12, x minus 8 on the bottom. All right, let's do number 10. All right, same exact thing. You have division. Anytime you have division, you're going to do keep, change, flip, or keep it, switch, switch, whichever one you want to do. So let's make things easy and let's go ahead and factor, because we're going to keep this first fraction, okay? So let's go ahead and factor that to make our life a little, well, never mind. Let's wait, because that'll make things more difficult. All right, so we're going to keep that first fraction. If you're good with going ahead and factoring it, then go ahead. All right, we're going to change that division to multiplication. And when we do that, if we do the opposite of division, you have to do the opposite of that fraction. So it'll be x squared plus 42 on the top, and x squared minus x minus 12 on the bottom. All right, so let's go ahead and factor this. That factors as x minus 5 and x minus 4. And on the bottom, that factors as x plus, excuse me, I can't write. That factors as x plus 3 and x plus 7. All right, on the other side, 6x plus 42 only has 2 terms. So we're going to do that with a GCF. So the biggest number that goes into both of them is 6. And so that'll leave you with x plus 7. All right, and then this one down here, you need the factors of 12 that add or subtract to be negative 1. And that's negative 4 and positive 3. All right, let's see what cancels out. So we have a x minus 4 on top and bottom. We have an x plus 7 on top and bottom. The x plus 3s do not cancel out because they are both on the bottom. They have to be in opposite positions for them to cancel out. One's got to be on top and one's got to be on the bottom of the fraction. So this 6, we always move our constants to the front. So it'll be 6 and x minus 5 on the top. And then we have x plus 3, x plus 3. But remember, when you have 2 of them like that, you can rewrite that as x plus 3 squared. And there's your answer. All right, we're going to do one more on this page, and then that'll be it. That's number 11. Number 11 is the exact same thing. You are still dividing. They just put both of them as one huge fraction, okay? So you have one fraction up here. That's your first fraction. And then you have a second fraction down there. All right, so here we go. We're going to keep the first fraction, a plus b over 4. We're going to change that big division bar to multiplication. And we're going to flip that bottom fraction. Alright, the only thing that cancels are the 4s. These are not the exact same thing, guys, okay? This right here is not the difference of two squares. You cannot bust that up like you did the other ones, okay? You can't bust that up like you did number 8, x squared minus 16, because it's not a subtraction, it's an addition sign. So you have a plus b and a squared plus b squared on the bottom. These do not cancel because you have addition. When you have addition, the rules are very, 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 very strict, okay? So you cannot cancel those out. And that would be your answer. Alright guys, that's all we're going to do today. So just go ahead and hold on to that and put that in your binders.